I want to ask you to do something with me for just a moment. I want you to imagine you're standing in your own living room late at night with the windows open. The air is still, almost too still. Somewhere in the background there's a faint, low hum. You don't even notice it at first. It blends into the sounds you're used to. The refrigerator, the distant traffic, maybe the clock ticking on the wall. Life in all its normal rhythms. But then, slowly, the hum starts to change. It's no longer background noise. It's growing louder, clearer, and something deep inside you knows. This isn't just sound, it's a signal, it's a call, and the moment you recognize it, your heartbeat changes. That's where we are right now. That low hum has been with us for a long time. We've heard it in the changes in the world, in the news stories that feel too intense to be coincidence, in the way our culture is shifting in ways that both fascinate and frighten us. We've felt it when we see things happening that our grandparents never could have imagined, but now that hum has become a trumpet. It's loud enough to shake our attention away from the distractions we cling to. It's loud enough to demand a choice, and here's the hard truth. We don't get to turn the volume down. We can't mute this. We can't scroll past it. This isn't something happening out there to other people. This is here, this is us, and it's now. I know that sounds intense and maybe a little unsettling, but the point of this moment isn't fear its clarity. It's seeing with fresh eyes what we've been too tired, too busy, or too comfortable to really notice. You and I have been given the incredible, unnerving gift of living in a time when the final prophetic sign has appeared. Not one of the signs, not just another reminder along the way, the last one, the marker that says the story is about to change. And if you've ever had that moment in your personal life, the moment where you knew things were never going back to the way they were, you know how this feels. There's no rewind button. There's no, I'll deal with this later. There's only now. I think about how we handle endings and beginnings, most of us. We don't. We avoid them until they crash into us. We resist change because it threatens our illusion of control. But when the final sign appears, we're reminded that control was never ours to begin with. What we do have is choice. We have the choice to wake up, to prepare, to live differently because we know what's coming. When I say live differently, I'm not talking about adding more to your to-do list or chasing some impossible standard of perfection. I'm talking about the deep kind of different, the kind that reorders your priorities, the kind that changes how you love people, how you spend your time, what you let yourself say yes to, and what you finally find the courage to say no to. There's a reason the trumpet is loud. It has to be because quiet warnings don't work anymore. The world is too noisy. Our attention is fractured into 1,000 tiny pieces. We scroll past tragedy and joy in the same 60 seconds without letting either one sink in. But this doesn't fit into a feed. It's not a trending topic we can move past in a week. This is the story, and we're in it whether we like it or not. The sign has appeared, and it's here to shake us awake. And that's good news, even if it doesn't feel like it yet. Because when we're awake, we see. And when we see, we can choose. And when we choose with awareness, we step into the very reason we were born into this time and place. There's something else I want to say about this. We are so conditioned to equate urgency with panic, to think that if something's urgent, it has to be frantic, chaotic, and stressful. But urgency can be calm. Urgency can be clear. Urgency can feel like that moment when you lock eyes with someone you love across the room, and without a single word, you both know what you need to do. This final sign isn't telling us to run around in fear, it's telling us to focus. To cut through the noise, to hold on to what's real. And what's real right now is that time is not infinite for us in this story. We are on the edge of a moment that people before us could only imagine. And I don't want you to miss it because you were busy with things that won't matter a year from now, things that won't matter an hour into eternity. I think of the people who were alive in the days of Noah. Ordinary people, people who had dinner with their families, who went to work, who made plans for the future. And then one day there was a door, and that door was opened for a while, long enough for anyone who wanted to walk through it. But not forever, and when the door closed, the chance was gone. That's the kind of moment we're in, and the sign we've just seen. That final trumpet call, it's God's way of saying, the door is open now, but not forever, and we don't know how much longer now will last. This is why I'm asking you, pleading with you, to not wait. If there's something you've been putting off, reconciling with someone, forgiving, letting go of a secret sin, stepping into the purpose you've known in your gut you were called to do it. Not because it's dramatic or because it will impress anyone, but because this is your life, this is your soul, and the time for pretending you have endless tomorrows is over. I'm not here to tell you it will be easy. In fact, it will probably be the hardest thing you've done. Waking up always is. You'll see things you didn't want to see. You'll feel the weight of reality in a way that makes your knees buckle. But you'll also see beauty you didn't notice before. You'll feel joy in moments that used to slip by unnoticed. You'll love people more fiercely because you'll know that love is the only thing you can take with you when the trumpet sounds for the last time. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the reason the final sign is so loud, so clear, is because love is loud and clear too. It cuts through everything else. And when we hear the call to wake up, it's really a call to love better, deeper, braver, while we still have the chance. So, if you're hearing this and you feel that mix of fear and hope and conviction stirring inside you, don't ignore it. That's your soul recognizing the truth. That's the part of you that knows this isn't just another day, another speech, another warning. This is the moment before everything changes, and the way you respond right now will shape who you are when the door finally closes. Wake up when I think about what this moment is asking of us. I keep coming back to three words that feel heavy and hopeful at the same time: purity, boldness, and urgency. And I know those are words that can feel overwhelming. Purity can feel impossible in a world that seems allergic to it. Boldness can feel terrifying when you've been hurt or rejected before. Urgency can feel exhausting when you're already carrying so much. But I want to talk about these words in a way that's real. Not the sanitized version we sometimes hear in Sunday sermons, but the messy, human, lived-in version. The version that understands we're not called to these things because they're easy, but because they matter more than anything else right now. The final sign isn't just some theological footnote. It's a summons. It's not a soft whisper you can ignore. It's a voice calling you to live with such clarity that it changes how you wake up in the morning, how you talk to the people you love, and how you navigate a world that's growing darker by the day. And here's the thing, living this way doesn't come naturally to most of us. It's not automatic. It's a choice. 1,000 little choices every single day. Let's start with purity. I think purity has been so misunderstood. Somewhere along the way, we reduced it to a list of don'ts. Don't look at this, don't do that, don't go there. But purity isn't about rules, it's about alignment. It's about the inside of you matching the outside of you. It's about your soul not being split into pieces. One part for God, one part for the world, one part for hiding what you don't want anyone to see. And here's the hard truth. This final sign we've just seen is God's reminder that divided hearts don't stand when the shaking comes. Purity is the wholeness that keeps you standing, and I know it's tempting to think I'll work on that later. But later is a lie we tell ourselves to avoid the discomfort of change. We don't have later. We have now, and purity begins now. Not when you've figured everything out, not when you've cleaned yourself up to some imagined standard, but right here in the middle of the mess. It begins when you stop hiding, when you get honest with God and maybe with someone you trust, when you decide that you'd rather be free than keep up appearances. Then there's boldness. I wish I could tell you boldness was about feeling fearless. But every bold person I've ever met, every truly courageous act I've ever seen, happened in the presence of fear, not the absence of it. Boldness is choosing to speak when your voice shakes, to stand when your knees feel weak, to keep walking toward the light when it would be easier to blend into the shadows. And I'll be honest with you, it's going to cost you something. People may misunderstand you. They may question your motives. They may call you extreme or unbalanced. But remember, the prophets were called worse. And the truth is, we're not called to be liked. We're called to be faithful. This is the moment when boldness isn't optional anymore. The darkness in the world isn't subtle now. It's loud, it's proud, it's confident. And the only way to confront it is with a light that refuses to hide. That's you, that's me, that's anyone who's willing to step into the tension and say, I'm not here to condemn you, but I won't lie to you either. I'm here to tell you the truth, even if it costs me something. Because love without truth isn't love, it's just approval. And truth without love isn't truth, it's just noise. Boldness is the place where those two meet and hold hands, and then there's urgency. I want to sit with this one for a minute because it's easy to confuse urgency with panic. Urgency is not running around in circles because we're scared. Urgency is living like every moment matters because it does. It's looking at the people in your life and realizing you may not have as much time as you think to tell them what they need to hear. It's refusing to wait for the perfect moment that will never come. It's deciding that loving people well today is more important than impressing people tomorrow. Urgency changes how you see interruptions. You start realizing that the phone call you didn't want to answer might be the last chance you get to speak to someone. The stranger you feel prompted to talk to might be standing in front of you for a reason. The child who wants your attention in the middle of your busy day isn't a distraction. They're a divine appointment. Urgency makes you present because you know the window doesn't stay open forever. And here's where all three, purity, boldness, urgency, come together. This final sign is God saying, I need you awake. I need you whole. I need you unafraid to speak, and I need you aware of the time. It's not a small thing He's asking of us, it's everything. And yet, it's not too much for Him to ask, because He's already given us everything we need to live this way. I know some of you are thinking, but I've failed at all of this before. I've compromised my purity. I've stayed silent when I should have spoken. I've wasted time I can't get back. And I want you to hear me. God isn't asking you for the life you should have lived. He's asking you for the life you can live from this moment on. The past is not a prison, it's a teacher, and what you've learned there can make you stronger here. This is why shame can't have the final word. Shame will tell you you're disqualified, that it's too late, that someone else can answer this call better than you. But shame is a liar. If you're breathing, you're still in the story. And the author knows how to write redemption into every chapter. Living with purity, boldness, and urgency in this moment means we will stand out. And that's the point. We're not here to blend in with a culture that's sprinting toward the edge of a cliff. We're here to be the ones who plant our feet, turn around, and call out to anyone who will listen. There's another way. Follow me. I know the way home. And if we're going to do that, we have to decide now. Not when things get worse. Not when we feel more ready. Now. Because the clock isn't waiting for us to get comfortable. So here's what I'm asking of you. Look at your life and ask, where am I divided? Where am I silent? Where am I distracted? And then, with whatever faith you have, whether it's the size of a mustard seed or smaller, take one step toward purity. Take one step toward boldness. Take one step toward urgency, and then another and another. The final sign has appeared, and that means our excuses have expired. But our hope hasn't. Our time hasn't, at least, not yet. And that means we still have a chance to be the people we were always meant to be. Whole, brave, fully awake. Live like the trumpet could sound today, because one day it will. I keep thinking about doors. It's strange, isn't it? We walk through them dozens of times a day without thinking. We open them, close them, lock them, leave them wide. Some doors we pass through without hesitation. Others we linger at, wondering if we're ready for what's on the other side. And then there are doors that we only get to go through once. Doors that, once they shut, will never open again. That's the picture I have in my heart right now. The world is standing in front of a door. It's open. It's been open for a long time, long enough for people from every corner of the earth to walk through it if they choose. And now the final sign has appeared, not just as a warning, but as a final invitation. It's God's way of saying, come in now, because the door won't be open forever. And I don't know about you, but that thought stops me in my tracks. It makes me think of all the times in my life I assumed I had more time to fix something that was broken, more time to tell someone I loved them, more time to get my priorities in order. We live as if later is guaranteed, but later is a myth. Later is a comfort we create, so we don't have to face the urgency of now. This is the moment to stop waiting. This is the moment to respond, not because you've figured everything out, not because you're suddenly perfect, but because the invitation is still on the table and the door is still open. When I think about that door, I think about Noah. Not the cartoon version we grew up with in Sunday school, with smiling animals and rainbows, but the real Noah, the one who built something no one had ever seen before because God told him to prepare for something no one believed would happen. I imagine the people who passed by him every day, watching, laughing, dismissing, and I think about how normal life must have seemed to them, until it didn't, until the day the skies darkened, the rain began to fall, and the door to the ark closed. And once it closed, it stayed closed. We're living in a moment just like that. The final sign is here. The door is open, but it won't stay open forever. And I think, if we're honest, a lot of us have been lingering at the threshold, half in, half out. We tell ourselves we'll get serious about God tomorrow. We'll step fully into His purpose for our lives after this season is over, after we're less busy, after things settle down. But life doesn't work like that. Things don't settle down, they speed up. The chaos doesn't pause for you to get ready. The decision has to be made in the middle of the mess. And I understand why we hesitate. I really do. Walking through that door means leaving things behind, things we've gotten comfortable with, even if they're hurting us. It means stepping into a new reality that demands our whole heart, and that's scary. It's vulnerable, but the truth is, the cost of not walking through that door is so much greater than the cost of stepping inside. There's another thing about doors. You don't just step through them for yourself. You open them for others. Every person who decides to walk through that door because of your example is part of your legacy. And in these last moments, that matters more than we realize. Because once the door shuts, it's not just about where you stand, it's about who you brought with you. So what does it look like to respond to this final invitation? It looks like repentance, not the shame-based version that makes you feel unworthy, but the real kind that's about turning around, coming home, and being restored. It looks like reconciliation, mending relationships while you still have the chance, because eternity is too long to let bitterness have the last word. It looks like urgency, not living recklessly, but living like you know time is short and precious. I think about the people I've lost, the ones whose voices I can still hear in my memory. None of us knew when our last conversation would be. None of us knew which laugh would be the final one. And that's the truth for all of us. We never know when we're standing at the edge of the last moment. That's why the invitation feels so heavy and so beautiful at the same time. It's a warning, yes, but it's also mercy. It's God saying, I'm giving you one more chance to step inside. If I could sit across from you right now, face to face, I'd look you in the eye and tell you this. Whatever is holding you back, it's not worth missing what's on the other side of that door. Not your pride, not your habits, not your doubts. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have it all together. You just have to be willing to walk in. And maybe you've been listening to me and thinking about all the people you love who aren't ready yet. I feel that too, the ache of it, the weight of knowing that the door won't stay open forever and that not everyone will choose to walk through it. But here's the thing. You still have time to be the voice they remember. You still have time to love them in a way that makes them curious about the God you serve. You still have time to plant seeds they may not understand until the very last moment. That's the other side of urgency. It's not just about our own readiness, it's about helping others see the door while it's still open, and that's why we can't afford to stay quiet. Our silence won't protect anyone. Our fear of being misunderstood can't be greater than our desire to see people saved. One day, the door will close, it will be sudden, it will be final, and there will be no bargaining, no extensions, no second chances. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up to the reality that now is the only time we have. And here's what I believe. There will be people who look back and say, I walked through that door because you showed me the way. And when that happens, you'll know every conversation, every act of courage, every moment you risked your comfort for the sake of truth was worth it. This is the last invitation, the last call before the end of the story as we know it. The trumpet has sounded, the sign is clear, the door is open, and the only question left is, will you walk through it while you still can?